regular session for March 8th to order at 4:04. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any public comment today?
Rolando Gonzalez, Lakeview, and I was looking at the minutes this afternoon, and on the packet, and on the February 9th minutes, I was surprised to see something under the department reports. And what it says there, it doesn't have a page number, there's one. Anyways, what it says there, it says Town Manager Ray Sims announced that the Chief of Police, Jeff Kemp, had officially resigned, and that the Chief of Police position will be posted in-house at this point. Okay, I would have contacted you folks prior to this, but I don't ever remember that being discussed, the point of the position will be posted in-house at this point. I know that's probably the cheapest way, the easiest way to do something, but I am very disappointed that you're just looking at that at this time. Historically, I don't want to get into particulars, but we have had problems in this town and in this county with the appointment of in-house candidates. And I think, that we, as citizens of Lake County, from the city of Lakeview, deserve that candidates for the chief of police, that we go out of house. You can include in-house people, I don't have any problem with that. They can apply, but to limit it just to the people that are here, I think is a disservice to the people in Lakeview. I think we need to go out. If no one applies, then that's it. No one wants to be in Lakeview. But to say, hey, we're just going to go with the in-house. And like I said, I won't get in particulars, but we've had problems. You folks know that, with people that we have been put in these positions of, in those type of positions, leadership positions, in-house. And it's caused problems. And a lot of people will say, well, those were nice people. What problems did you have? We had problems with management. They were not one of the reasons we had problems with them. It was seen as from the view of some of the citizens of Lakeview, is that the management was the problem. We didn't have anything against the individual personally, but the management of the position was a problem. The management of their employees, other staff members was a problem. And so I think it's a disservice to the citizens of Lakeview to just go in-house. There's a lot of people out there, and I think, it's a disservice, and there will be a letter in the paper this next week. I'll put one in this week, because I think it's a disservice. I mean, there may be a highly qualified person that wants to move to Lakeview, and we're limiting that to individuals that have been here for a while, etc. And I think you folks can look at that and look at some problems you had even here with in the police force, and it's caused problems.
We'll check the minutes to see what was actually said.
Yeah, we don't want to see that again.
Okay, thank you.
A lot of people have been hurt in the past.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments we have? Right. You're quiet? Okay. Communications, comments, information items. We have a few things there. We just had a question right on the cool and connected thing, what that's about.
There's been an effort in the last several months, maybe even be for a year or so, to expand the capabilities of broadband communications in the county generally, but in Lakeview as well. Part of the effort is to reach out to Plush and Adele and bring better broadband service into Paisley as well, and then there's some work going on in the north end of the county as well. I became aware that there was this EPA opportunity called Cool and Connected that you had to express interest in applying for their program, for us particularly here in the Lakeview area. And without a whole lot of notice, and in a little bit of communication with Hunter Communication as well as LS Network, I believe the company is, who works with Hunter Communication. Mike, you may know who they are?
No, I just see it here.
Okay. They and the county and everybody is wanting to make all efforts they possibly can to try to find resources. In this instance, this Cool and Connected would create provide some money to create a plan for how we could expand broadband availability in the Lakeview area. So at kind of the very last moment with a request to ask for some help in getting some money for a planning project, that's what it's about.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
Now, when it comes to
Go ahead.
to communications, you know, the actual systems that, you know, Darwin looks up at me. I'm always amazed when I go over to the planning office or the whatever, and all of the technology capabilities they have because of our broadband capabilities here in the Lakeview area and fiber and just people who understand technology about 10 times better than I ever will. You know, I don't know how it all works, but it's obvious that that is the trend, and we all need to work everywhere we can to try to make sure that us in rural areas of the country are able to have all of the access to it we possibly can. So.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
We do have a letter from our two police chaplains, Eric Sarenson and Dan St. Clair, thanking us for sending them to training, and I think we should thank them for taking the time and effort to continue with this. They've both done it for a number of years. It's very nice to know that they're there and available for us. Okay. Any other questions or comments on the communications items? Okay, we will move on to department reports. Please, Travis, any additional?
No additional.
Well, we just had that. Did I miss a page, or did we just have this?
Is this somewhere else?
Well, it's.
Are you missing the front page?
Street closure.
Yeah. I think you're missing maybe a page. Okay. I wondered why that was just this. Okay, if does anyone have any questions on that at all, I'll look at it after this, so I'm sure it's fine. Okay. Scott, any addition?
We're right now in RFP for our new telephone system. We have a choice between Airbus and Viper on our new telecommunications system. It'll run around $400,000, which is paid by the state. So we're going through the vendors right now to figure out which vendor that we want to go through for our new telephone system. So it's a process that we go through. They'll come down and we'll decide which system to go with. Also, getting to the internet part of it, we would greatly love to have fast-speed internet here. Our system works on, you have to have, there's a download speed, which is sometimes 20 megs, and then an upload speed. Our system doesn't work under 7. And what we can get right now is 2. So we're feverishly working, trying to find an internet provider that will give us, this one company that we looked at said they could give us 20 speed up. Because in our business, you know, the download speed would be like if you were surfing the net. But we talk back and forth to state
Right.
computers and stuff, so we need that upload speed.
You want to go fast, be able to get
And
this.
when you can, the fastest service we can get here from our telco is 2 or 3.
They say they're delivering 5, but it's tested at 2.
2. So,
And where that really becomes important is
on a traffic stop for us, say, when we run a license plate, if that person is wanted or there's, a murder suspect and that car's associated, response time sometimes can be 2-3 minutes. So we could already be talking to someone before we even know that there's a response, that there's something that we should have a flag about. And so that's why it's so important to have those letters of credit.
What service do we use now for internet?
Century. We're trying to sign on with FireServe, and there has been some struggles getting them to get us installed. They're guaranteed, they told us, I think, 30 up and down. We'll see what that actually equates to be, but that was their claim. And so we were supposed to have an installation done today.
What about the fiber optics of Hunter?
Very expensive from my understanding.
Yeah, but safety's in mind, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we'll need to see, what FireServe actually delivers and whether or not that's sufficient for what we need.
Because FireServe is microwave, aren't they?
Wireless, I know, I don't know
Wireless,
microwave or,
Wireless to Black Cat.
I don't think that's gonna get you much faster, but I would think we need to look into Hunter Communications.
I
They
know
provided a lot
CenturyLink,
of-
we couldn't afford their $525 a month.
What does
For
CenturyLink
their
charge?
T3.
What does CenturyLink charge for our services?
Oh, I don't know, but if,
I think it's
to move up
about
to the
90.
next, around 100, but to move up to the next is $500 some a month, which, I mean, safety's number one, but yikes.
And so what the plan is actually to have divided internet in our budget. One that's mostly allocated for, police services for the CAD system, and then one that would feed the rest of the building. So there would be a dedicated, that's what the FireServe would do, is actually serve, the dedicated for the CAD system, the dispatch system. And then the rest of the building would feed off of the CenturyLink, so it wouldn't be pulling bandwidth away from the important connection, which is,
And part of our security through Homeland Security, we can't have the same provider provide both lines. They want, Homeland Security wants basically a separation between one vendor to the other when it comes to our NCIs, or National Crime Notifications System. So we were thinking, well, we'll just get 2 CenturyLinks bumped up, and they're going, nope, you have to have a separate one from your other one.
Well, maybe if they want to be that discretionary,
Maybe
they can
send
come in and
people
decide
in.
who's better for us to use then.
And
I-
pay for it.
That's, I don't know, I think we need to look into something other than broadband. I don't think that's reliable whatsoever.
Just also, we've been working with Actech out of Bend, who are a computer IT provider. They do a lot of work for the counties, the school, and I believe the hospital as well. And they've been looking at our system and are making some recommendations about how we go about updating. So, we are using somebody other than just CenturyLink or FireServe to look at the system and see what's available and make some recommendations.
Because we have to have certain firewalls in there because we handle law enforcement data throughout the world, even through Interpol. And so it's gotta be hack-proof, and we have to have it encrypted coming in, encrypted going out, encrypted anyway. Very, very expensive, but we're not like TSA that can hire people that are on the terrorist watch list. We have to be very careful.
and from my information that I've been told, is Hunter's problem is they're not only running their own system, they're allocating to Charter and CenturyLink and all these other entities. And so although they are a fiber line,
They
they're
are
starting
our
their
own
own
fiber
choke.
line coming
Yeah, they're starting to get choked by allocating to everybody else, so.
And we thought about going with Charter, but Charter cannot provide internet service to businesses.
At this time.
Really?
Yeah.
And that may change, they're working on that. And I've heard it every year, sometime around a year, but they are saying that this time it is in place. There was the last year,
It's FCC. It's
Comcast buyout is what stopped everything, and so this year, hopefully, they'll bring in their own fiber line and then offer more services here, so.
I mean, it was a very good deal if we could have gone through Charter. And we would have switched the phone service and all that, but then they came back and said, nope, we can't do commercial.
All right, well, keep working
We
on
just
it.
keep, we'll still answer the phone.
Yes,
Nothing
thank
that
you.
money can't solve.
That's right. Mark Call from Motorola says, if you throw enough money at it, we'll make it work.
Surely would.
Okay, Fire Dennis was here but did leave because he's catching whatever's been going around town, so he didn't want to stay for the meeting. Anderson Engineering, do you have anything for us?
I do.
Okay.
It hasn't been that long since.
Oh, I recognized you right off.
Wait, I was trying to think of that guy's name.
Yeah, I apologize. You get a little bit, you need to put me on the agenda, just put my name there. The Head Start project is kind of waiting for some funding verification. That's been sitting there. The town really is kind of just a pass through on that. But that should go to construction here, hopefully, early summer. We've looked at a few projects to fix this summer, Jeff and I. We've been back and forth with Ray quite a bit on the Red Rock project with more estimates and time and estimates and whatnot. I didn't hear anything all winter from the school or the hospital on the geothermal heat. So I know a few times I talked to them, none of the backup heat came on at all. So we'll be totalizing the use here shortly, this upcoming month, and trying to see where things are at. But I think that part is working very well.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So when you say totalizing use, does that mean when we send out the bills?
When we send out the bills, yeah, if they're within that.
Just want to know.
What it is there was, if you recall, we have, the school district was allowed 6,500 million BTUs per year, and the hospital 9,000 million BTU per year, and so we'll see where we are for the past year on those and make sure that those are the right amounts. And of course, if they go over, then we get to go in a little extra.
It's toasty in the high school.
Pardon?
It's toasty in the high school. Very, very comfortable.
I go down and see my dad at the hospital, and he's always cold, but he was when he was home, so. It was 85 in his house, and he was still cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not heard any complaints about it. I mean, there are always compliments about how well people like it. So, good.
Good.
Hey, Jeff Marshall.
I don't really have anything to add other than what's in there. Like Darryl mentioned, we're looking at a few projects that probably aren't gonna be able to be put off until the next calendar year. We've got some repairs on a sewer lift station that we're gonna be looking at probably doing a repair maybe the middle of summer when the flows are down situation.
How did the springs do?
The springs came up when it was warming up real good. We got up to 160,000 a day, and now they've dropped back off. I guess it's cold up there. So we're back down to about 50,000. So next time they bounce up, they'll probably stay up.
Thank you. Ray, manager's report?
I don't think I have anything else. Any questions?
No, I don't have any, unless anyone else does. Any questions, comments? We'll move on to the consent calendar, and maybe Amy can check her recordings to make sure that that line that was mentioned about in-house is either there or not.
I'm pretty sure that I mentioned that
I-
that would be the process, because it is
Yeah,
difficult to process.
I think you did too, but
I thought it was kind of, I don't know, employment regulations that you, I know the school always has to advertise a position in-house before they take out of.
That's right, there's a process that you go through and we're following.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean,
But she can double check and see if I actually said it or not, but I'm pretty sure I did.
I think you did too, but, okay. Well, we'll accept a motion to accept the consent calendar with the possibility of one correction.
I so moved.
Oh, Sharon, second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of the consent calendar with the possibility of one correction, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, mayor, council, manager updates. What?
On consent calendar, you have the August 18th. Are you doing
Yes.
that with the whole consent calendar?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. All right.
The whole,
Thank you.
I did make appointment of Mike Smith to both the planning commission and the budget committee. He's been on our Christmas committee for a couple of years and expressed a desire to do some more volunteering, and so accepted the budget committee and then learned of the planning commission vacancy, so he will be our new appointee for those two things. He's employed at True Value and has been really involved in the Christmas committee and said he wants to volunteer, do some things, so.
He's also helping me with those lights.
Yes, he's very enthusiastic, so.
He has been known to have a lot of lights around his house at Christmas.
Ray and I have kind of worked on the police chief thing a little bit, and I did attend a town safety committee in, Safe Representative was here in February and did a program for us with some good suggestions for job safety. And I attended the joint planning commission meeting with the county and the town, which was postponed until in April because Red Rock has decided to make some changes, so, you know how they are making their requests, so, anyway, that was what I've done so far, so, Sharon?
I have met with the chamber board at 7 o'clock in the morning. I want special cupcakes for that. And
We'll buy you a cup of coffee.
we did a lot of discussing on first of all, we were looking at our budget and seeing how that's going, and then we discussed plans for Irish Days and decided that since the chamber is the sponsor of the parade, that maybe the chamber ought to have a float in the parade. So some of us worked Sunday for that, and we'll meet again and should finish it up on Thursday. Luncheon, what's that term?
Lunch and learn.
Lunch and learn is, the next one is
Monday. Right after Irish Days.
Monday the 14th or something.
Yes.
Monday the 14th, is that the one that, the health? Okay. Yeah, they're gonna have a lovely young woman there from public health talking about your options of getting coverage. So,
Anybody you know?
but, rather well, actually, yeah. But I think so far we've had a really pretty positive reaction to the lunch and learn and for people coming in, and there are several things that are planned for, particularly for businesses and helping their businesses and the technology, and Kurt did a great job with social media, so I think that's coming along. Senior Center is still working real hard with their budget. they're thinking about having a banquet similar, I think, it sounds like to the gala, to honor their own, especially seniors who have contributed over a number of years as volunteers for a lot of different things. And so I think that's a really nice idea. So they've had some recent issues with food share, and I'm not sure how that worked out, but they were going to try and deal with that. So I haven't gotten an update on that.
Ray?
Yeah, Jeff and I have been talking, and we both talked with Ray, and the Public Works want to change their hours and go to 4 9s and a 4. And I think it's a good deal, for the fact is that if they're working on a project, they can stay and get that project done and don't have to bring equipment back and forth. They'll have somebody on call for the rest of the day on Friday to finish out if somebody needs water shut off or something like that.
So would that be the same person that's on call over the weekend then,
Yeah.
and it just extend for the half day and the 2 days of the weekend?
We did this down there at the mill, and it worked out really well, and found that the employees, their attitudes changed, and we got more out of their production that way. Just gave them a little longer weekend, and if somebody wanted, instead of taking an all day off, they'd take a half a day. It actually worked out better. The other thing, if you'll look on, under the Public Works monthly report, look under the vehicle maintenance.
Yeah, I did.
And
Yeah.
they've been doing their own maintenance work down there, and I did not realize that. And by looking at this, they've saved the city a lot of money, and they want to get a lift down there that they can put in and drive the rigs on and lift them up in the air to work on them better. And I think that's a great idea also.
Okay, well, we will have to discuss.
What was the other thing we talked about?
You plan on adding that to your budget?
Well, actually, I have another idea on paying for most of it. We have quite a bit of scrap brass, and prices are really down right now, but they go up and down. And I think I could pay for over half of it just in scrap brass. Make one trip to Klamath or Alturas, whoever's paying the most. And so I don't know how that could be directly applied towards that project, but
You put it in our general fund, we could use it as discretionary.
Yeah.
I'll work with Jeff over the next few weeks to see what we have available, where we're at, and, I actually gotta get some quotes to see what the cost of.
The other thing we talked about was the weed spraying.
Yeah,
And he wants to send 2 of his guys up to get them certified. And instead of us contracting out, have those guys do the weed spraying and stuff, which would probably save the town a lot of money.
And Ray and I talked about becoming certified, and it's actually gonna be pretty simple. It's just a book you get and study it, and then,
you have to take a test doing that.
yeah, through Klamath Community, you can
And
process
so you
the
can
test.
take it down here at KCC, that's even better.
Yeah,
So we wouldn't have to leave town at all,
That sounds like a good idea.
yeah.
Very good.
And I know it's pretty touchy with some people, but we'd like to spray some alleys and,
What
at least the
about-
middle of the alley.
Do we have the spray equipment, or would that be
We
something you
don't,
have
but
to
it's
purchase?
pretty minimal,
Yeah,
less than, like around $500 for a 25-gallon sprayer, which would be pretty good. In fact, I have Ag and Auto checking on one right now, kind of an industrial that would last a good long time.
Cool.
very
Put that
good.
together.
Good ideas. Thank you. Darwin?
Don't really have too much. There was an DEQ air quality meeting that was earlier this week that talked about the change-out program and the new options that are going to be hopefully put in place very soon.
For the wood stoves?
Yes, for the wood stoves, and great progress is being made there. I hope that next time we meet, we'll have more to say on that. So that's all I'll say now, but I do want to thank the town for their sponsorship for the Tall Town Wrestling Tournament that was over this past weekend. It was a great success. There was as many as 146 wrestlers at the tournament, so should have been a pretty good, economic driving force for the community, and that tournament only grew. It was a great success. The volunteers put in a lot of time and effort to make that a success. But again, it was probably close to $4,000 to $5,000 made during the tournament. So with sponsors, concessions, just entry fees and such. So
And that
and there was
goes
a
to,
raffle as well. So
that goes to that organization
Yeah,
that
to the-
sponsors them, so that they're
Exactly, yeah.
self-supporting.
yeah, exactly. So before, that club's been around for a while, but been running on about $1,000 budget each year, and so it'll be a little better. So
Good.
excited
Oh,
for that.
I don't know if you know, but the LHS wrestling team donated $300 to the Mat Club
Yeah.
out of some of their fundraising money that they did.
That's excellent. I didn't know that. I haven't got a list of all the sponsors, but I'm sure there's gonna be something in the paper soon. It kinda has a report on. Tomorrow, good, excellent. I know Shannon Ludwig was trying to get that together and get all the parents to give the results of what their kids did that day. It was a good experience for the community to have everybody here. And those who were here thanked us for a job well done on our first tournament after a long time of not having one.
Excellent, thank you. Mike?
I have no reports.
Okay.
If I could add,
You could add.
and Mike, well, let's see, are you still doing, Warner Creek? DOC PAC is meeting?
No,
I'm
no,
back.
You're back now.
It's in
I
April,
knew that was one of those changes.
yeah.
Isn't there a PAC meeting this coming Monday? No? I'm sorry, maybe I'm mistaken.
I thought the email said it was in April, but I will definitely check,
Check
because
on
if
that.
it's this week, I'll go.
Just a couple other things with the police department. Ann Cassabaum has taken another full-time position in the Lakeview area. So we'll be losing her as our part-time administrative assistant. So we're beginning the process of replacing Ann down at the police station. Ann is going to become the director of, I guess it's spelling the news, the crisis of the Lake County Crisis Center. We have a Red Rock conference call tomorrow regarding land use crisis. Red Rock conference call tomorrow regarding land use, and that's Darwin and Janine Cannon and I think Amy's going to be with us. This is particular to just the Red Rock or the land use processes that we're trying to get underway. And it's really nice having Darwin on town council as the county planner. He's wearing every hat there is to wear in this particular project, so it is nice having him. Also, there's a statewide geothermal working group. It's kind of like the natural gas working group that we've been doing locally, and we used to have the renewable energy working group that really has kind of faded away, but the geothermal working group, the statewide organization, is going to meet in Lakeview on the 8th of April, which is a Friday, I believe. I better get my calendar out, make sure I'm telling you the right date.
PAC meeting's on the 18th of April, by the way.
Is it?
That's what I have.
Okay. April 8th, I was right. And anyway, they'll be meeting here in Lakeview and be meeting at Warner Creek, actually, and looking at their geothermal system, their heating system out there. They're also, I'm going to meet with them as well and discuss the hospital school systems and probably take a tour of the hospital facilities while we're at it. So, they've been planning on doing this for a year and a half, and it's just not ever worked right for everybody to come to Lakeview, but they're going to do it this year.
That sounds great. I mean, it's about time we got some recognition, so it's been working well, but you know what this means.
It's still working.
It's going to keep on doing it, yes.
Well, April, hopefully they won't be using it too much.
Yeah, but I think,
Last till
I
next
think
year.
that's good, because we need to have that project recognized, I think.
Absolutely. And, there are people around the state that do know. Doug Young, the Department of Corrections, some of you will remember well probably, but he was the engineer that was really instrumental in the DOC looking at this along with the town and for the Warner Creek facility, and Doug's going to be the primary person discussing the geothermal workings around Lakeview and with DOC at that meeting. So look forward to seeing Doug here anyway. He's been a great partner and person to work with. I think that covers the rest of the things I wanted to make sure.
Okay, thank you. We do not have any old business, so we'll move on to new business. And we have street closure request for Irish Days. And Julie has given every one of us all the paperwork for the parade and the street closures, and I think you had one additional thing you wanted.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The only additional, and of course, we'll see how the weather goes. That's always an unknown quantity, but we're gonna make it work. We'd just like to request the north block, the north 100 block of, I have your map here, and I have this written out. North First Street, between East Street and up toward the Marius Building, to allow, hopefully, weather dependent, for some outdoor kid activities like sack races and hula hoop contests and that sort of thing. We do have a kid carnival planned with indoor activities and potato decorating and different things for them to do, weather dependent. But we have the disc golf demonstration being again held at the end of the tennis courts up there. So we thought that that would just kind of lead into that, with activities happening on East Street and then moving up with the kids up on that end of things. So you'll see on the schedule for the Irish Days events how we have laid out. We're going to have the regular potato hockey on the 100 block, and then we'll move down to the O block for kind of a new variation on the spud peeling. It's going to go into a tournament bracket play with cash prizes, this time with 8 teams. So that's going to move a little faster than the 3 service organizations with a whole huge bowl. So we hope that'll be exciting. And then that'll give the outhouse races time to set up on the 100 block again, and just kind of try to keep things moving a little bit faster. So, thank you.
And who are you were saying we have somebody new announcing it, I can't remember the name.
Kelsey Flynn and Stephen Pardue are going to announce the parade for us and hopefully stay through the afternoon, and Jennifer Turner will be handling the spud peeling tournament on the O block. So we're kind of going to bounce back and forth between sound systems and just keep a little bit more happening on the streets and a little bit more activity for all that. The Examiner, the Accuracy Technologies, and Les Schwab are sponsors this year, and we have the O buttons out for sale. The Examiner's done great work in getting with all the merchants and getting out some ads for the specials around, so those have already come out in the Wise Buys, and then you'll see the big ads in the paper tomorrow. Thank you for your consideration.
Any problems with the closure of that street?
I don't think so. I've already talked to Terry Loft. He's gonna do any of the vehicle movements that'll be needed. I'll be coming on that morning to assist with the parade, so it'll be Terry and I on Saturday morning. I've adjusted Terry's schedule a little bit to accommodate for anything that we need. Do you guys have cones, Jeff?
We've got a stack, and I have some I'm going to borrow from CenturyLink. We have volunteers that'll be blocking the streets off at 7 o'clock that morning.
So do we need any additional, or do you have enough to do the D/First Street closure, or Second Street, I guess it is? That's what you're asking for, right?
Right.
D
yeah.
and Second, North Second there.
Yeah, D is off at the very beginning. That's a standard thing we've done for parade every year because that's the lineup.
Yeah.
But we won't have that blocked after the parade's over, just the block from the Marius Building to East Street for kid activities to be within there. So there's still access for public emergency vehicles if need be around the full circle.
Do we need to take a motion, or can we just?
Yes, I motion to approve the street closure requests that they asked for.
Okay.
I move that we approve the street closure as requested by the Chamber of Commerce.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the street closure requested by the chamber. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
So I haven't heard, so who's the we and Grand Leprechauns?
First name.
Grand
Yes,
Dawes.
Grand Leprechaun is Bill Berry,
Berry.
and Wee Leprechaun is Briley Dawes.
Riley Dawes.
Daughter of an Examiner employee, but I was the one who drew the names. I assure you there was no funny business involved. She just happened to enter. That was the name I drew.
Well, until you mentioned that, I didn't know that if that was.
Oh, it's all over YouTube, it was on the flash, he made a public disclosure that there was
Well, good.
no collusion.
Okay.
It'd make it easier to line up a photo though, having the mom in house.
And the second thing on new business is the naming of town hall. If you saw in your packets, the letter concerning the possibility of renaming the building to honor the mayor for over 20 years, or Billy Lane Skips Thornton.
I put it in under new business, it could have been informational, I guess. At some point you need to decide what you would like to do with regards to this request or maybe others. I'm not sure what the town's policy is with regarding naming of buildings. If there is one, I haven't researched that yet. Probably a good topic for a work session at a point in the future to take a look at that. You do have one other building that is named, the Del Lefley Emergency Services Building. And so it's not something that you haven't ever done before, or the council, I don't mean you particularly. I don't know when the Emergency Services Building was named. If that was when it was being built, at the dedication, or it was sometime following, I just don't know. So, but I wanted you to be aware of it. I think we all know, to some degree or another at least, that Mayor Thornton's history with the town of Lakeview, and his involvement in their family involvement in the community over the many years that they have been, and there's nobody going to, can argue with that. It's a matter of what policy that council wants to take with regards to these sorts of requests, and looking a little bit further than just at the specific, and do you want to be naming various facilities and structures of the town now and going forward, or how do you want to deal with that? So,
Any questions or comments from council members?
I'll just comment real quick. I appreciate the request, and it's nice to, for myself, not being from Lakeview, to kind of learn that history of past mayor and, someone who's put in lots of time for our area. And, pending any, legal counsel looking at if there's a policy, I have no problem with approving this. I think it'd be maybe hard to find someone that's put in more work and time as mayor and things like that for the community, so it would definitely be my recommendation and motion that we could approve it pending legal counsel's look at it, just so we can get it done. And the only question I would have is what's potentially the cost of this would be. I mean, we'll probably talk about a simple sign or something, but wouldn't be on letterheads and things like that. It's not like a drastic change.
I think there's some things about it that you need to probably take a look at. There's something that sticks in my mind, and I don't know if it's regarding if it's state law or whatever, but it seems like I recall reading or hearing, knowing that there's a naming commission or something that may not have anything to do with local facilities. I don't know. I think that we probably, before you
There is a
take an
historical
action,
name board.
we should probably take a look into that, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, and if you look at the Bernard Daily United States Post Office, there still isn't a sign up there, and that decision was made, 12 years ago or something?
Actually, there's a sign inside, isn't there?
Well, maybe, but
Yeah, I think.
actually, I don't know if you want it on the outside. We ought to actually give that building a nuisance ordinance refraction. I'm serious.
That's another matter.
I'm bringing it up so we can discuss that.
It's not on the agenda for today. I think that we do need to do more discussion about it, and I think we should, as Ray suggested, put it on for a work session for,
Find out some details.
yeah, find out more details and, give council members a chance to think it through and how they would like to approach it.
I didn't see in the packet that we received, I didn't see a name or just exactly what they were wanting to name. And My first thing that came to mind, I have no problem with honoring someone like this, but with the Thornton Town Hall, where's Thornton? You know, I mean, that's, Lakeview Town Hall is what it is, and so that's the, you know, I don't know how you go about it and what they're wanting to achieve and how they want to make it. So I think a work session is.
I think a work session and thinking about plaques or some things like that also is.
Well, and sometimes in facilities typically larger than this, but, you know, you name a meeting room.
Right, yeah,
or
but not the entire
you
town
know,
hall.
you bring up a good point that, you know, recognizing it from the outside as town hall or city. But anyway, there's a whole, probably a whole range of things that can happen from nothing to you know, various things in between that and naming the outside of the building, the Thornton, Mayor Thornton, Lakeview Town Hall. It's kind of becomes cumbersome. So anyway, so there's a lot there to think about. It really, what sounds like a very easy and simple, just do it. You know, there probably are more ramifications to it than when you think about it than that.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion, questions, comments? Okay. We will then close the meeting at 4:00.